Hey fellow brewers, my name's Damo. I wanted to run you through our brewing kit that we're getting set up for our little commercial brew. I've got the Tapcooler dual head pressure counter filler right here. Also got the Brewly ACS-1 auto can sealer over here. And the MT-50 labelling machine. So I'm just going to run through canning a 330ml can through this lot from my kegerator and talk about each of the equipment as I go. So the Brewly tap cooler costs about £270, $370 US, and the instructions are pretty good to get this thing set up. The things I probably would point out are when you set up these clamps into these can sealers, this fitting is very tight. So I would take this rubber bung off and push the can sealer onto there. I actually had to bang it on the desks until they came on. And if you look closely, you still see there's a bit of a gap there because it's just so tight. So just do what you can with that. But they don't have to fit all the way. They still work fine like here. The other thing to talk about on these is that you get given two separate beer lines that then can be attached to a ball lock gas line. If you want to run both tap coolers from one keg, you're going to need a splitter, which we've got ordered, and likewise for the gas lines as well. You're going to need to get a splitter for that if you want to run it off the same gas system. At the moment I've just got mine running from the one keg and the one gas line. I've also got the other gas line going into the keg. And I turned up the keg and the gas line to 10 psi just to get it through this gas line. Other than that, the kit is pretty good. I only tested the one, as I say, because they're still on order for the parts for the other one. I did find there was some residue of some sort on this bar, but I added a little bit of grease onto there, and since using this up and down, it's cleaned it up and it's working fine. And let's get going with that. So I've got my cans in here, getting all sanitized. They're good to go now. So I'm going to just pop this guy on and push the clamp down. I'm doing this all one-handed today because this kit is all nice and friendly to use. Just get it lined up, press it once to get it sealed, or as sealed as possible. So you've got the gas line coming in here, you've got the beer line coming in at the top, the tap is ready to go. First thing to do is to purge the can of oxygen by pressing this button. And you can hear when it's starting to escape out of the seal, which is normally when I stop. Or about 5 seconds will do the job. Now I'm ready to start filling. That's coming in real quick there. And what we're trying to do is reduce as much foaming as possible by using this kit. And there you can just see, as soon as I see it coming out the top, that's when I turn it off again. Pull that up. And so that's looking pretty foamy in there. That's more probably because it's the first run that I've done of the day. But still pretty happy with that. That is pretty full. There's only foam right at the top. So now I'm going to bring this over here, stick a lid on it that's also in my sanitizer, and bring it over to the MT-50 canning machine, Brewly ACS-1 can sealer. What I will say about this kit, it costs about £550 sterling or 750 US. It's a nice bit of kit. Haven't really had to do any setup with it. First time we were running it, we were getting gaps in the top after it's sealed. You can always tell by pressing the can and you start to get bubbles out the top. So in the instructions, they're pretty good instructions. They tell you to loosen this off with their tool. Now I didn't receive this sealer myself. It was through a friend. He said he didn't get the tool. All I did was stuck an Allen key on one side, a screwdriver on the other, and just turned that anti-clockwise till it loosened. Then this turntable above will go up and down on a thread. So all you do is put a can on there while it's all loose, bring it up to the top and get that to lock in. And now the can should sit right up against, butt tight up to the top. Now what I found is it was still not doing it even though I had the can right to the top. So I really pushed it up as far as I can without it denting the can. But of course, as you can see, as soon as I touch it, it's causing the can to dent because it's such under pressure. Now I'm still going to experiment with this, but it seems to have sorted out the problem, but I may have it too tight, but that should do the job for now. The other thing is you don't get a beer guard or any sort of screen guard with this one. So for now I've just put a bit of glass in a vise just to protect us. As I say, there's no setup with this machine. That's the only change I've done literally out of the box. So I'm just going to turn that on. And that's it. All you do is press the start button and then unhook the can and have a look at that. That looks nice and sealed. I'm pressing it and I can't feel or see any liquid coming out the top, so I think we're good there. Next, I'll move on to the MT-50 labeling machine. This is a little bit more fun to set up. This took me probably a couple of hours last night. I picked up just some any old generic labels to test it out until we get our proper labels back from the designer. These are just Dymo reading labels. The reason I chose these is because they're quite long labels, so it allows me to test wrapping it around the can completely. Although the roll in the middle was too small, so I've manually rolled some onto there. The device I didn't look at the instructions for this, I just looked at YouTube videos, and thanks a lot to Harry Brew for pointing out that this machine does not come with an earth, and you need an earth to avoid getting electric shock. So pop out the back. I'm doing these 3 bolts and the 2 screws up here and those bolts on the other side. Take this back off. Underneath you'll see there's the socket for the kettle lead, and in there you can put an earth wire into there. Just screw it into something that grounds onto the metal and into that earth plug. Job done. Also the kettle lead, as Harry pointed out, it's a pretty rubbish kettle lead, so highly advisable you get your own. Once I've done that, the other thing I had to watch a few YouTube videos for is trying to work out where the label runs across the machine. So I'm going to try and demonstrate this as best as possible because this is what took a while to work out. And I've even drawn some lines on the outside here to run you through it. So from the labeling machine, with the label facing up, run it through here, run it through the laser device, and then under there. So you've got this big roller here, you've got another roller about halfway down, and then you've got a roller sitting at the bottom there. And it's quite hard to indicate that from here. But basically, you go through the laser, you go under that roller, you go over this, no you don't, you go under here, and then you go over this little part here. It does not go around there. I've indicated that incorrectly. So it comes under there, up to here, and then just comes straight over this cutting piece and straight back down again to this other roller here. And then on that roller, it goes behind that one, behind that motorized roller there, and then through this metal thing, round underneath, and then under and across into this collection part where it collects all the waste and so on, the leftover label. So hopefully that's clear. Clear as mud, no doubt. And the other thing you have fun with was this later part, which a few people describe that in other videos. I'm not going to go into it. Basically just put it where you need to along this runner for the length of the label. And the other thing that I had to do was just adjust this to the correct distance for a can to sit on here nicely. I'm still not sure exactly if there's exact science to that, but I just did it to an amount that where the can could sit comfortably. Secondly, or the last thing I had to adjust was this bolt down here, which controls your it hitting this switch depending at what height this thing sits at, the lever sits at. and that's according to the size of the device that you're applying the label to. So once I got that to the right distance there, adjusted that, got the labels in the right place, put an earth cable in, got us a new kettle lead. That was pretty much good to go there. Just a lot of messing around with adjusting, which hopefully I can save you some time by running you through this video. So this all worked fine last night when I last left it, so fingers crossed it will now. I'm just going to place the can in roughly where I want it and pull down the lever. It's already on. Oh, nothing. Try again. There we go. All right. And there we can see the can is all finished and ready to drink. Hope you found that video useful, and please like the link. Cheers.